I've now been a full-time online coach for nearly 6 months, and I thought I'd jump on here today, do a video about kind of my history and my training experiences and stuff like that. So I started training about 13, 14. My dad had a beach shop, mum and dad had a beach shop, and I spent a lot of time at the beach when I was a kid, so that meant that I was pretty vain, as in I wanted to take my top off. And if I didn't feel confident taking my top off, then that was a big thing for me. So I remember, like, between say 10 and 12, I chunked up a little bit. Obviously, I think I had a massive growth spurt incoming. So up until the ages of 14 and 16, I grew quite a lot. Hit 14, I started lifting weights because I didn't feel that confident in my own skin. At 15, I made the county squad for rugby, and stuff started progressing with rugby. So we started having strength and conditioning coaches, and we started having sessions in the gym where they would take us through technique stuff. But we also had contact time with nutrition coaches. So I remember at the time, it was a big thing, right, start making sure you're having eggs for breakfast rather than cereal, and bits like that. That started getting, we had a diet plan given to us. I remember that being like a big change and being like, whoa, this is brilliant. Because I remember always being hungry when I was younger, especially around that age. I was always hungry, like literally all the time. And I just started eating getting to eat loads of food. I remember mum being like, this is going to cost me a fortune, because my brother's a big lad as well. And we started eating loads. Like, we would eat say 12 eggs between us for breakfast every morning. Stuff started to progress from there. So obviously just a bit of a OCD individual anyway. I always have been. I like to be in control of my surroundings. I wanted to understand more about why we were doing stuff, why were we eating a certain way, why are we training a certain way, what's the goal, what's the objective. And I remember always asking questions to my coaches. In college, I was in the rugby academy. We started a course in sports science. I finished my course 2 years later. Obviously played loads of rugby, loads of hours in the gym, got bigger, got stronger. Nutrition, I'd probably say, was okay at that point. I think I got bombarded by a lot of bro science at that time, and I used to believe it a lot more. I'd always eat. I remember I had a weight gain shake with nearly every meal, and sometimes my guts weren't the best. Yeah, just always trying to gain weight. I remember I joined a rugby academy, I think like 98 kilos, and left at 101 kilos, and it was just like, right, I need to gain weight. It was kind of my only goal. Need to get stronger, need to get bigger. Would do the England position was for position, and see what their weight were, what the strengths and weaknesses, and what their body shape is and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, finished college 18, go to university to study strength conditioning. Super excited about it. Luckily, when we were there, obviously when you're living in by yourself, your nutrition goes out the window. But always being a big lad, I remember it always costing me a fortune to feed myself. Even at uni, I remember being on a budget and being like, man, I've got to eat. So I used to eat loads of tuna and stuff like that, just to get through and try and keep my weight up. I was also playing rugby at the time for Preston Grasshoppers, which I enjoyed. Towards the end of uni, I got injured, I stopped playing, and I realised, right, what am I going to do? Kind of what's my goals would work, that what I'm going to do when I finish uni. And then I'd only really up to that point been involved with like professional athletes, and it was a case of, right, what do I want to do and what's kind of achievable? And I know that with professional sports, it's really difficult to get involved in. So I thought, right, I'm going to need to get some experience work with the general public a bit more. Managed to get a good work experience with a gym called Underground Strength Station in Liverpool. And the guy that ran that and owned that was like the ex-GB Taekwondo and Judo S&C coach. And he was actually the head coach, strength coach for England rugby as well. So I managed to obviously spend a lot of time with him, and he was really helped me out. Like, he was a great fella named Neil Parsley. I learned a lot from him. Also at the time was at the Cell Sharks Academy doing some stuff there. Big transition period, obviously, when I started working with Gen Pop, it was like athletes really understand their lifestyle and their nutrition, and then going into Gen Pop, you realise that's probably the biggest thing that you need to try and encourage is right, make sure you're sleeping enough, make sure you're eating enough good food and stuff like that. So that was when I started getting a bit more involved with prioritising my clients' health and well-being and their vitality, and talking to them about rest and recovery and bits like that. I leave university, I move to the Midlands, I'm now wife, so I go into a gym that hasn't got a weightlifting class, they haven't got a strength class, and I go in and talk to the manager, like the guy that runs it, and I just said, look, I think your gym would do well with a strength class, because there's any chance I can teach a strength class at your gym? So, yeah, of course. So I ended up starting coaching at a CrossFit gym. Did that for about a year. Whilst I was doing that, I was actually teaching college in Birmingham, teaching level 3 and level 4 personal training. That went really well, enjoyed that. Enjoyed coaching at the time. Then I made friends with a few of the other coaches at the gym, and the guy that owned that gym was basically, he'd done it for a while, he was getting a bit over it, and stuff hadn't gone quite right for him. So we ended up opening our own in Cannock. I couldn't actually believe at the time, like it was like, oh, when I was a kid I was like, I'd love to have a gym when I'm older, that would be sick. And then at 22 I had my own gym, and I was like, fucking hell, this is crazy. And I'd actually put a lot of pressure on myself to make it get, like, I really wanted it to go well. I remember that first year being really stressed and like, yeah, just a bit overwhelmed by the whole thing. Like, right, I really need this to work, I really need this to do well. And then over the course of that 10 years, like, obviously relaxed and let things go their way. But everyone would say, oh, you're so relaxed, Connor. And I was like, no, I don't feel relaxed. But yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. I loved every minute. Met loads of really cool people. Got to coach loads of really cool people. Made lots of friends, and it was brilliant. And then over the course of had children, I've now got a 5 and a 3-year-old. When my first son was born, it was like aware to me that I wanted to move back to where I was from when I was younger, just so that they could experience what I experienced when I was a kid. Just because I had an awesome childhood, getting to spend so much time down the beach. And so it was a case of, right, what am I going to do now? So I approached my colleagues and said, like, this is my plan. Is this cool with you? And they're like, yeah, brilliant, that's fine. We expected it at some point anyway. That was the moving period. Obviously then I had to transition to moving online, which has been a really strange process. I've really enjoyed it. It's like, in terms of why I've enjoyed it, it's been a challenge. I found towards the end of personal training, not that I didn't enjoy it, but rarely did people come to me with questions that I didn't know the answer to, which sounds really big-headed. I don't mean it like that at all. It's just like, there was rarely ever a situation where I thought, oh, I'm challenged by this. Whereas online, because it's a different ball game, I felt really challenged, and I really enjoyed being challenged. I feel like, especially from, let's just call it a mental health perspective, I find that if you're not challenged, you become a little bit monotonous, and that's what I felt like anyway. Like, it was becoming very repetitive, and now with this, it's very much a challenge. And hence, even doing this video, for me 6 months ago, I'd have found the weirdest thing ever, talking to a camera. But now it's a little bit more comfortable for me. I still find it really weird and have to psych myself up prior, but it's been good, and it's took me outside my comfort zone, the same way when I was 15, 14, taking my top off down the beach took me outside my comfort zone. It made me start training in the first place. And it's all about, I think, just having periods of your life where you push yourself outside your comfort zone, and it makes you grow as a person. And that's what's happened for me here. Is I've, like, my public speaking, I'd say, is a lot better. Even though obviously 10 years teaching and talking in front of a class, you know the people that you're talking to, so it's quite easy to talk in front of people. Whereas when you're talking to a camera, you have no idea who's going to be watching the video. It just feels really alien. Even now it feels alien. But in terms of where I want to go in the future, it's mainly, I just want to help people feel better. I feel like with the way the fitness industry is going, everyone's just trying to push the boat all the time, as in they're trying to make people work harder. And I personally feel working harder isn't always the answer. And that's a case of just, one, working with like professional athletes. They understand that prioritize recovery if you want to get better. But the problem is we take a general population, you then apply that same approach with the fact that they've got maybe a business to run, or they've got family, and they've got all these lifestyle factors that reduce your ability to recover. You can't take the same approach to both situations, and that's kind of something that I really am passionate about, and I want to try and help people understand, like, you don't need to do as much as X person. And the same with CrossFit. You find that, like, mainly a lot of my clients are from the CrossFit background, but they'll all look at what the professional athletes are doing. It's like, yeah, but all they do is train, and that is it. You can't do the same as them, or you can't expect to do the same as them and get the same results, because they're doing a multitude of different things that you're not. However, that does not mean that you cannot improve. That's the situation. You can still get better. You don't need to do that much. And then there's obviously this behavior where people love to exercise because it makes them feel good. Functional fitness and high intensity exercise is so fatiguing on the body, it's really hard to recover from. So that again makes it more challenging, and that's the thing that I have to speak to a lot of clients about. But before the video gets too long, that's kind of a bit about me. If you've got any more questions, or you want to talk to me about anything, you've got any questions with programming, nutrition, anything like that, just drop me a message. My goal in the future is hopefully that I can go back to uni and actually do a master's. That's my goal. I want to try and do sports medicine. I've been looking into that at the moment, and I feel like that's just going to help improve the package that I'm currently giving to people. So obviously mainly work with people with their strength and conditioning programs, either to lose weight, gain muscle, all the above things, run marathons, high roxes, everything. I'm helping with people at the moment, Olympic weightlifting competitions, loads. I've got loads of different things going on with different clients. And then from a nutritional protocol, sometimes it's as simple as, I just want to feel better. I work at the laptop all day. I find that I'm up and down with my energy all day. How could I go about improving my energy my energy levels? I want it to feel more constant. We might use a different approach with different people. And then it's a case of, right, Connor, I always find that I just can't sustain my intensity at the gym. I feel tired after half an hour. And then we just look through different ways and different protocols to try and improve those things. You don't have to pull back all the layers of the onion initially. It's just a case of maybe we start by pulling back one layer, and then you go away, you work on that for 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 weeks, and then you come back and we'll try and pull back another layer. And it's a case of, you can keep doing that, and that's how over the course of 10 years or 15 or 20 years, you keep yourself engaged as well. If you find yourself you're losing engagement and you're not finding it as exciting, it becomes monotonous, then just pull back another layer, try and find something new to work on, try and find something new that's challenging, and it will help keep you motivated. It definitely helps with me. That's how I've managed to stay motivated for all these years, is I just try and find, like, let's try and learn about this, or let's try and implement this new strategy to try and make it a little bit more interesting, a bit more of a challenge. But yeah, thanks for watching. Check you soon.